Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Harry Potter TCG Classicish stream. What I mean by that is we are playing Harry Potter TCG with the classic cards, but with some of my own house rules. There's a video in the description if you want to see the reasoning behind the house rules, but you can also see the house rules in the description. But to sum it up, we're playing without the unique rule. Oh, sorry. We're playing with the unique rule only applying to your own board. The starting player does not draw on their first turn. And something else that I can't think of right now. Oh, yeah. Let me check. Right. Yes. The card caught by Snape is banned. But today, also, yeah, if you don't know how to play, you can, there's also a link for a video in the description where you can learn how to play. But today, we're doing something kind of different than usual. So we're basically just doing fun stuff today. A lot of the decks from before have been, not that we're not trying to be competitive with these decks, but the deck ideas that we have are ones that sort of turn out not to be that competitive in the meta. And the point is we can still enjoy those decks and also talk about maybe in what cases would those decks actually work, and the process of deck building a deck, even if it doesn't work, is kind of fun. So the first one we're going to be looking at is using a starting character that we have not used before on the channel, Harry Potter, because funnily enough, Harry is actually not that great of a card, despite being the TCG being named after him. So Harry says that when you use an action to draw a card, you can draw 2 cards instead of 1. And also today I will go over the decks pretty quickly because we have a lot of them. And they're not that complex today. And this guy I'm using, actually this deck is just a spawn from the idea of wanting to use Fluffy. That's it. We just wanted to play Fluffy in a deck. So sometimes building a deck is that simple. You just decide you want to play a card, and then the rest of the cards are put in after to accommodate for playing that card. So we wanted to play Fluffy, and Harry's power is that we get to draw an extra card when we use an action to draw for cards, and we'll get to why he was the choice for this deck. So Fluffy is a creature that requires 10 power, and we have to discard 2 of our Care of Magical Creatures lessons from play to play him, and he's just a huge creature, dealing 12 damage a turn, just a big creature. But the problem is, of course, our opponent can get rid of Fluffy in several ways, so we need to protect Fluffy once we get him into play, probably, because our opponent might have something to get rid of him. Like this card, Dobby's Disappearance, is a prime candidate for that, just returning him to the hand. So our plan is that we will draw a bunch of cards, then we will play this spell, Apparicium, that lets us put all our lessons from our hand into play. Once we do that, we can play a card that prevents our opponent from playing cards like Deboning. So this prevents them from playing cards on their next turn. And then once we do that, we can put Fluffy on the board, play another card like that. So we have both Deboning, but we also have Forgetfulness Potion. So this one is basically just like Deboning, but we have to discard a Potions lesson for play to play it. So we have basically 8 copies of cards that do this. And then we have Steel Claw that allow our creatures to do damage to our opponent. So once we have Fluffy on the board, each Steel Claw is at least 12 damage. So get Fluffy on the board, prevent them from playing cards, then you can let Fluffy do the damage, and you can also speed the process up by playing Steel Claws. That's the whole idea. And you also have Hedwig to get back Deboning and stuff like that. And the rest of the deck is then a lot of lesson cards. So you have 10 Transfiguration lessons, 12 Potions, 12 Care of Magical Creatures. And the reason we play Harry Potter is just we will simply be drawing for cards until we have the combo pieces, because this requires you to have Apparicium and Fluffy in your hand, at the very least, and also a lot of lessons. So you keep drawing and drawing and drawing until you have the combo pieces, then you play your Aparisium, and then hopefully you win the game. Now, of course, the problem is, and why this deck may not work, is like your opponent can stop you from achieving this in a lot of different ways. They could put an adventure on the board, like through the arch, that prevents you from playing your Aparisium. They can destroy your lessons, perhaps. They might just kill you before you're able to do this. But this is the deck idea. We're going to have fun with it. So just rushing for Fluffy, killing them with Fluffy, that's what we're going for. The next deck is another very ambitious deck, just like the last one, with a plan that is, you want to be playing some really high cost power cards, and it's actually a very similar plan. So in this one, our plan is we play Aparisium, just like in the other deck, but the plan is to play Aparisium and get to like 11 or 12 lessons. From there, we can play Flying Laps. That lets us do damage to our opponent equal to the amount of lessons we have, but then also draw that many cards. So we can draw that many cards. And then we don't want our turn to end. So we can play Platform 9 3/4, which we may draw when we play the Flying Laps. So we play that, we get more actions. So this one discards one of our lessons for play, and we get 2 more actions. So we put a lot of lessons into play with Aparisium. We can get 2 actions with this, and then we could play another Flying Laps, draw even more cards, and repeat this as many times as we need, or we're able to, and then we'll have dealt a lot of damage to our opponent, but then we can discard all the cards in our hand with Spiral Dive and deal that much damage to our opponent, and that is how we finish them off. So you draw a bunch of cards, then you discard them all to finish your opponent off. That's basically this deck. Another very ambitious one, and might actually not work against the other decks that we're playing today. Now, in order to enable this thing, we are playing... First of all, we're playing a lot of lessons, of course, 26 Quidditch lessons and 10 Transfiguration lessons. But we also need to draw a lot of cards. So we're playing Loop the Loops, which is like a tiny Flying Laps. It does 4 damage to our opponent, and we draw 4 cards. So not as good as Flying Laps, but it means we have more cards we can draw that allows us to keep this combo up. And Penalty Shot, just to draw more cards. Quick Thinking, again, allows us to draw cards, but this can also be used to just deal damage to them. And our starting character is another unusual one, but it's Harry once again. This Harry the Seeker, gives us a card once per turn when we play a Quidditch lesson. So we get more draw, and that helps us pull off the combo. So that's another crazy deck we'll be playing today. Quite fragile, especially because if they deal a lot of damage to you, Flying Laps might actually be hard to even play because you might draw the rest of your deck when you play it. So quite a tricky deck to pull off. You gotta go fast or lose, basically. Then the rest of the decks are incredibly straight to the point decks. Basically just rush, try to put damage on the board as quickly as possible, try to kill your opponent fast. So let's get to that. We have 2 very similar ones. The idea is similar in both. We can play Care of Magical Creatures lessons, and we play a character that provides power. So we can play only one type of lesson, which is great. And what we're trying to do is put a lot of cheap creatures on the board. So we have never been like quite this aggressively creature heavy in terms of low cost creatures in any other deck on the channel. But all of these decks are quite low. The most expensive card in this deck, the Flitwick Rush, is a 3-cost creature. So we have a Sandstone Gargoyle, a 3-cost creature, Slinking Fair, 3-cost creature. And we're even playing these creatures that we normally never play, that require you to discard Care of Magical Creatures from play when you play them. The logic being that you can reach 3 power, then play, for example, a Baby Dragon, go down to 2, then you can stay at 2 if you want to, and play the cards that you need. But we're just trying to get as much damage early as possible. And And yeah, similar cards to this are Forest Troll and Giant Tarantula, both of them dealing 2 damage a turn, but requiring you to discard a Care of Magical Creatures lesson from play, the advantage being their very low power requirement. So the rest of the deck is all the burst damage that you can muster. So you got Licorice 1 in this one that can deal 2 direct damage to our opponent. And we can play this even if we don't have any lessons in play, because Flitwick provides us 1 power. We have Magical Mishap, just dealing 3 damage to our opponent. Overdue Homework, that deals damage to our opponent equal to the amount of lessons in their hand. Then some adventures we've seen before, Escaping the Dursleys and Through the Arch, which we can play, just they don't require power, so we can always play these if it fits the matchup. And they can be quite disruptive if it's the right matchup. Through the Arch, for example, can really protect us in a matchup where they're using spells to interact with us. Then we're just playing 1 Peeves and 1 Grip Hook. This is a recent addition, but the logic is Peeves is essentially 2 burst damage, but doesn't require you to have any 7 burst damage, but doesn't require you to have any power. And you got a Grip Hook that, depending on the amount of cards in their hand, can deal a huge amount of damage. So if they have 10 cards in their hand, you use Grip Hook, they discard their hand, and then they draw 10 more cards. That's 10 damage, essentially. So you can use these 2 as kind of finishers once you've played all the other cards that you're able to. So this deck is the most aggressive thing you can sort of come up with, I think. The problem, of course... yeah, Overdue Homework would be very sad for the Harry deck, indeed. Yes, these actually the Rush decks that we're playing today would probably destroy the 2 decks that I just showed you, but they have a lot of weaknesses. Of course, Baby Dragon and any card that requires you to discard something else when you play it is very vulnerable to removal cards, because at the end of the day, if 1 card is traded for 1 of these, then you've essentially lost 2 cards and 2 actions for the cost of 1 card on your opponent's side. And this is even worse with Dobby's Disappearance, Professor Quirrell's Quirrell that can return all creatures to their owner's hands, and so on. But we don't care. In this deck, we're just going for it. So that's why it kind of doesn't work, but we're still going for it. And then the other Rush deck is very similar, but we're playing Hooch, who allows us to get a broom. So the main difference here is, of course, we have access to Quidditch spells instead. And the broom we have is, where can we find it? Clean Sweep 7. When we play this one, we can look at the top 4 cards, and we can arrange them in any order we want. And then we're also playing this special creature, Errol, that when we play it, we can look at the top card of our deck, and if it's a lesson, we put it into play. So we can search out the broom, and then when we're ready to play Errol, we can play the Clean Sweep 7 and put a lesson on top of our deck, and then play the Errol and basically get a free extra lesson. So that's a pretty nice boost to get to 4 power easily. The broom itself provides 1 power, and then the rest of the deck is essentially the same. We play some nuke spells to try to finish them off, but before we try to play those, we usually just play creatures. So incredibly aggressive deck. It plays Through the Arc and Escaping the Dursleys just like the other one. 1 copy of Peeves, 1 copy of Grip Hook. You could play around with the amounts of these cards, but it's essentially the same deck, just with a different flavor. So that's the other foolish deck we're playing today. And then the last one, incredibly aggressive as well, but in a different way. We got the Weasley Twins that says before each of your turns, if you have an adventure in play, your opponent takes 2 damage. So we play adventures that are incredibly annoying to get rid of. We have Through the Arch. Again, this one, you require 4 actions. You need to pay 4 actions to solve it. And it says your opponent can't play spell cards. So that one can be quite limiting. And also, it could screw over a deck like the Flying Laps deck, of course. And it's... as long as it stays on the board, we're dealing damage with the Weasley Twins. Then we have a similar one, Flying to Hogwarts. This requires 5 actions to skip to solve it, but it also deals 2 damage on its own. So you're dealing 4 damage a turn with this one. So you can be incredibly aggressive with this deck and play Flying to Hogwarts on your first turn, and you're immediately dealing 4 damage a turn, putting a lot of pressure on them to get rid of this card. And then there's Troll in the Bathroom, that's the same as Flying to Hogwarts, essentially, but solving it is discarding 7 cards instead, which may or may not be easier than Flying to Hogwarts, but in general, it's harder to skip 5 actions. So we're playing only 2 copies of Troll in the Bathroom. And the rest of the deck is similar. We play the Peeves and the Grip Hook. We're playing Quidditch and Carrot of Magical Creatures lessons, and then we play the same kind of nuke spells as in the other Rush deck, and also similar creatures, but here we, just like in the Quidditch deck we just saw, we can play Black Bat because we were able to get to 4 power. And in this, and also another boon of the playing the Quidditch decks is being able to play Fouled, a really powerful nuke spell that reduces their actions by 1 for the next turn. So those are the decks for today. We're going to jump right into a game, and we're going to start with the fluffy deck against the Laps Around Platforms deck. I'm going to take a very short break, and then I'll be back with that, so stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to jump into a game. I'm going to be playing the Laps Around Platforms deck to try to go for that crazy combo. And I guess we're going to roll to start. Those are some low rolls. So we got... I rolled higher, so I get to start. And we're playing with the house rules today, so I'm not going to get a card on my first turn, but just having the 2 actions is already a big advantage. All right. So, yeah, we want to trigger Harry every turn, so we're going to start with playing a lesson. And we get an extra card. And then we play the other type of lesson. And then we just pass. So these decks are very similar. They have a very ambitious goal in mind. Yeah, so he's just going for it, and we draw for the turn. So we already have Flying Laps and Platforms, which is nice. Those are 2 combo pieces. It would be a problem here if we don't get a lesson next turn, because then we slow down quite a bit. But if we do get a lesson next turn, we can play the lesson, get a card, and then play Penalty Shot for 3 more cards. And then we're already in pretty good shape, I think. So, yeah, he just keeps playing. So you want to get to 5, and then you start using Harry to draw for combo pieces. So we draw for the turn. That's perfect. We get the lesson that we need. So we play the lesson, we get a card from Harry. And now we also have Apparicium, which is a combo piece that we need. So we can play penalty shot and get 3 cards. So things are going well so far. This is a bit of a problem because now we need to be drawing into more lesson cards, but it's not a catastrophe yet. We have 2 penalty shots to draw a lot of cards. So our next action might just be to... Yeah, so he's playing to get to 5, and now he's using Harry just to draw for the combo pieces. Because once you get to 5, you don't want to spend actions to play lessons. You will use Apparicium to achieve that. So now I'm going to draw for the turn. And it's the same here. We could play this lesson, but we don't want to. We want to put it into lessons into play with Apparicium. So I'm going to just use penalty shot to draw cards. And we're drawing a lot of spells, unfortunately. But we drew another penalty shot, so let's play another penalty shot. Okay, so we have 2 lessons in hand right now, but we used all our actions, so it's back to him. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. This we're drawing a crazy concentration of spells here compared to the amount of cards that should be lessons in the deck, because 3/5 of the cards in this deck are lessons. So yeah, 3 out of 5 cards should be lessons, and we've only gotten 7, and we've drawn quite a bit of cards. Okay, so it's back to us. He was just drawing. He might actually be able to combo next turn, but unfortunately we are not ready to combo yet. We have 3 lessons, so we can only get to 8. So we need to draw more, so we'll play the penalty shot. And we're hoping this one will be giving us the cards that we need to get to the combo. There we go. Let's see. I think we drew 3 lessons. Yeah, so now we have 11 lessons. And I think that's enough. So we play the Apparicium. And we're going to reveal our hand, but first we're going to put all the lessons into play. But the problem is he might just be able to start playing deboning already next turn, but we have to reveal our hand to him. So I guess he's going to give us a thumbs up once he's satisfied with looking. We can maybe organize it a bit more neatly. So we have the spiral dives with each other, the quick thinkings with each other, and the platforms right here. Okay, so we can unreveal, and we pass to him. But we're at 11, which means we can play Flying Laps and draw 11 cards. We have 2 platforms, so we should have enough to kill him next turn if he doesn't stop us. But he definitely has a window here to play Apparicium himself and then play a deboning to stop us from playing cards. So I'm guessing that's what he's going to do, but he could also just not have it. Okay, so it looks like he's going for it. Makes a lot of sense. And if he has enough combo pieces, we will just lose here. He does have... Oh, let's see what he has. So it looks like he only put 3 lessons into play. So 5... So he has 9 power. Okay. So it's sort of good for us. Because he only gets to 9, which means he can play deboning, but he's only playing deboning to stop us for a turn. He can't actually play Fluffy yet. So that's good, because it's hard for him to get his own combo on the board. Yeah, so he plays deboning. And he can't really do anything else right now. So we draw for the turn. And I think it's pretty useless to draw here. It just gives us less hit points for later, so I'm just going to pass. And he knows that he has to keep playing Deboning or Forgetfulness potion. Here, he could play Hedwig and get Deboning back and play it again. That's fine. But he can't... if he plays the Forgetfulness potion, he's losing a lesson every time. So you really want to only play those if you already have Fluffy on the board, because otherwise you're making it harder to play Fluffy. Now he decided to draw, which has to be a mistake, because now he gives us a window to combo. So we draw for the turn. And we're going to start with Flying Lapse. For 11, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. Yeah, I think the right play had to be Hedwig there. So we're gonna draw 11 cards, and now the fun begins. So, oh, I should use the hotkey, but it's okay. So we draw a crazy amount of cards, and yeah, we can do some stuff here. So how many lessons do we have in hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 lessons in hand, and we have 11 on the board. So my idea is we can play 2 platforms, and then we go to 3 actions. And then we can play the Apparicium to go to 20 lessons, which means that the next Flying Lapse will draw us all but the last card in our deck, and then we can combo out from there. So let's see. Platform and... Whoops. Platform. So we have 3 actions left. So the Apparicium, that's Apparicium 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, there are multiple ways to kill here, but I think this is the most fun one. We put all the lessons on the board. Oh, whoops. What is happening? Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, unfortunately, Untap is quite slow at doing this. But eventually. And then Flying Lapse with 20. So now I'll try to use the hotkey. There we go. It worked. And now we can play... Well, we can do this in several ways. We could play the platform first, but I'm going to keep it simple. I have 7 cards in my hand, so if I play the Spiral Dive, I discard 26. Oh, I should have revealed my hand, but it doesn't matter. So that's... yeah, so that's what the deck does when it's working. There you go. So let's move on to the next game. Yeah, let's play another game. And the next thing I think we were going to showcase. So the games today should be a lot faster. So maybe we'll have the time to play a lot more of them. So it's going to be Flitwick Rush versus the Errol Rush. And we're going to roll again. Roll a d20. And we get to start once again. So we get to start. Oh, damn, not drawing any Not drawing any lessons, that's pretty crazy. So I draw at the start of turn. Okay, there is a lesson. I'm going to use Hooch to find the broom. And where is it? There it is. So we find the broom, and I put the broom in my hand. And yeah, starting by playing the Escaping the Dursleys should be worth it. It's a slight tempo hit, but we should catch up. So let's start with Escaping the Dursleys, and then we pass to him. So we did not get an Errol. Of course, you will not always get the Errol. It's possible we could see Errol when we play the clean sweep, and then we can put Errol on the top of the deck and then put the lesson underneath him, because this will be 1 and 2 actions. And yeah, decks similar to this might be more viable in Revival, where there's not a bunch of well, it's not as easy to play a character deck where you just bounce a bunch of creatures. So solving Escaping the Dursleys. And he plays a lesson before that. Wait, but he should... He has an action left. And he has an action left. Yeah. There's solving the adventure is of course not an action, so he can still do something here. Draws an extra card. Okay. So back to us. Right. So we draw for the turn. And now we play the lesson. And because we have creatures that discard our lessons, I want to start with the more expensive ones. Because Curious Raven, we can play if we get down to 2 power after playing our baby dragons. So let's play that last in this case. So we can play the Clean Sweep 7. And now I'm not actually sure how to do this. Yeah, we peep at 4 cards, I think. Right, so we can look at these. And this is perfect. So we can put the Errol on top. Like this. Though this gives him a window to disrupt this. But we want the Errol on top, then the lesson, then fouled, and then the other Errol. Because maybe this will actually be discarded then. Okay. And it's back to him. They are still revealed. I'm not sure if I need to like unpeep or something. I guess it's okay. Yeah, going first in these matchups seems just incredibly good. You get your creatures rolling first. You also get the opportunity to play Escaping the Dursleys first if you have one. Oh, but he plays and uses Peeves. Okay, so then we will basically lose our combo here. So send all these to the discard pile. And we draw 7. Right, because now we don't know if there's a lesson on top. So I draw for the turn. And we can play Errol and gamble. Yeah, it's just sent to the discard then, I think. Oh, sorry. It just stays on top of the deck. So we know there's a file on top of the deck, and then we play a Care of Magical Creatures. That was an annoying play by him, because Peeves sort of resets the escaping the Dursleys. I sort of forgot about that. That's an important interaction, and a common thing in Revival as well, is people playing Peeves to get around this kind of thing. After you have your hand discarded, you can search out Peeves and use him immediately to sort of reset. So he puts a Sandstone Gargoyle. This one deals extra damage if I have no creatures, but I have creatures, so it's fine. So I draw for the turn, deal a damage with Errol, and we just start nuking. We have 3 fouled, which those are great cards. So we can play Biased Commentary, and then Felled, and that's going to be 9 damage. Also, I think he didn't take damage from the owl. It should be 10 in total. All right, so we... Yeah, I should take damage from Errol as well. He says he took it. I'll trust him. So we pass. I'll draw to discard. Yeah, so at this point, we have all the power we need, so the lessons are not important anymore. Well, they could be if we get a bunch of Baby Dragon or whatever. Yeah, so there we go. Now he's playing his Baby Dragon. And oh, he can't do this. He was fouled. He only has 1 action. I'll write him on Discord. Oh no, he's undoing it now. Okay, good. Yeah, so as you can see, these decks are pretty stupid, but they, in the right environment, they can actually work. Just going for it, just being as aggressive as possible can actually work. Depends on how greedy people get. So now it's us. We draw. We get it through the arch. Yeah, it's not ideal, but maybe that's what we want to be playing. We stop him from playing his spells. It's probably not good enough, but this might be the best opportunity to play it, and it's going to stop all the potential spell damage he has. But he has lost 4 of the spells. He didn't take from Errol, though. He should take damage. Yeah, let's play the Through the Arch, because we can't play anything else this turn, and this might be the best opportunity to play it. We could just dig for creatures as well, but then if we don't get anything, can't do anything but play Felled, and I figure if we're going to play the Through the Arch, then let's do it now. So we'll take 4 damage. Also, if he gets rid of this last lesson, he can't... Oh, he plays Escaping the Dursleys. Interesting. I don't think that's super great for him, because we can search out a Black Bat, but it's not that bad. He is getting rid of 2 fouled, so we draw for the turn, and we should solve this. And discard our hand. Yeah, we might actually be on the back foot now. So we can find a card. And yeah, the decision here is really between Baby Dragon and Black Bat. There's only 2 Black Bats left in the deck, to be fair. So I think Baby Dragon is probably the right decision, because in time it will deal more damage than the Black Bat, and he has no way to get rid of creatures. So let's take a Baby Dragon. Then we can use our first action to draw. Peeves is okay. Baby Dragon. And then back to him. So now we take 4 damage. Oh, he's skipping actions. I would expect him to play the Forest Troll that he had. I think he should just be putting as many creatures as he can on the board, but maybe he can only put that one, and he would rather unlock his spells, so to speak. Yeah, here I'm not sure. This could be the moment to play Peeves. He has 7 cards in his hand, so he would not be gaining cards. Yeah, I'll go with Peeves here. We're trying it. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Yeah, we're playing with my version of the unique rule, so actually I can't play the Peeves. With the normal rules, you couldn't play Peeves here. So I draw 7, and it's back to him. Maybe we can even grip hook him here for some damage. There's another Baby Dragon. Potential to play Fouled. Suddenly a lot of options. He solves this, I think. Yeah, 2 actions. Yeah, I'm surprised, but no reward. Yeah, so we draw for the turn. And at this point, I think we're doing really well. So I think now we play Care of Magical Creatures Fouled. Wait. Maybe I'm missing something. Because he was shaking the Baby Dragon. I don't think it's not supposed to deal now. All right, so this should be game. Playing Fouled, putting him at 11. We're going to deal 4 more with the creatures, and then we can finish him off with Grip Hook. And because we play the Fouled, he can not play more than 1 card. So we can play this, and then play the Fouled. That's 4 damage and 1 less action for him. And these decks are pretty fun to play, because you just get to play your cards right away. Now we take 4 damage. And he only has 1 action now. So this should be, yeah, there's no way to get around this. He's going to lose. He decides to put a Tarantula on the board. And that should be his turn. So he passes, and we deal 4. And then he has 8 cards in hand. He didn't take from Errol. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We play Grip Hook and we use him. So that's GG. All right. Yeah, we got to start once again, so I mean, it's kind of unfair. But next one, I suppose. Yeah, we play another. And this time I was supposed to play... We had a plan here. Yeah, now you get to see me play the Fluffy Rush versus the Weasley Twins deck. Might be just a terrible matchup for us. But the one thing we have going for us is he has no way to get rid of Fluffy. So we don't actually need the debonings. They're just kind of icing on the cake to stop him from playing stuff. So this time he will get to start, it seems. So worst case scenario for us. If he draws through the arch, that is the worst thing that can happen to us, because we can't afford to be wasting that much time to solve it while we're taking damage. It's just not possible. But we'll see. If he doesn't get that one, then it's fine. Well, not fine, but it's still a bit rough, probably. But we have... so one big downside for him is the other ventures he has. We can, for example, play Dobby's Disappearance to get them back into his hand. Of course, if we do that, we risk him playing Through the Arch. But yeah, we have things we can do, and he needs to kill us fast enough. So he's going to start. Good luck, have fun to him, and I'm going to get some water. So he should... Oh yeah, we're playing without first player drawing, of course. So he just plays 2 Quidditch. So this is an unlucky opener for him. You really want... Yeah, he passes. You really want an adventure right away with this deck. So here we might as well draw 2 with Harry. Play potions. And it's back to him. Care of Magical Creatures. Yeah, I think he has some stuff. Actually, yeah, I don't remember the list, but yes, he has some stuff he can play early, like the Curious Raven. Okay, so he's starting to deal damage, but this is like among the slowest starts the deck can have. Not drawing an adventure is really bad. So we draw for the turn. And we really need the Apparicium. So I'm going to draw 2. And we can still play the Care of Magical Creatures because we need to get to 5 anyway. But eventually we need the Transfiguration. So I'm going to take 1 damage from the Raven. And that was the Transfiguration lesson. God damn it. Yeah, there's 10 of them in the deck. This deck plays fewer of them than the other ones, and not because you want to have them in play less, but just because you actually need to discard the Care of Magical Creatures lessons when you play Fluffy. So you need at least 2 in play for this to work. And also each potion lessons you have means you can play another Forgetfulness potion. So that also helps you in a different way. So for that reason, we're playing more copies of these. So now we draw for the turn. Okay, but we're lucky, so we draw it anyway. So we can play the lesson and another Care of Magical Creatures, and we just pass back to him, taking a damage. Yeah, so he drew his mandatory and now he's thinking, it looks like. We have a black bat and a fouled. Yep. Now we're starting to run into problems. So this is 6 damage right away. 6, there we go. And we have 1 less action on our next turn because of fouled. So we're having speed problems here. We kind of need to get Aparicium very, very soon. So we have another lesson now. We need one more lesson so that we are at one. So now we have, yeah, if we get these into play, we're at 9. So that's too little. We need 10 for Fluffy. So we draw 2 with Harry's power. So this is not enough. Well, we still need to get to 5 at least. Oh, whoops. I probably should have just played a lesson because we only have 1 action this turn. But at least we have enough actions now. Sorry, we have enough lessons in hand. So we pass, we take 3 damage, and it's back to him. But yeah, it looks like we are way too slow. I mean, we have Dobby's Disappearance to put creatures back in his hand. I kind of feel like yeah, it might be a mistake not using them right now. My logic was kind of that. Oh, there we go, through the arch. Okay, yeah. So that's hurting us now. So we draw for the turn. There's the Aparicium. But we can't play it now because of Through the Arch. Yeah, this is really bad. So probably should have played these. Because bouncing them at least means that if he plays this, the creatures are not dealing damage at the same time. And Through the Arch is preventing us from using this. So that was probably a missed opportunity. Skipping 2. We need to get rid of that. We don't have like a way around it, really. So, and then we just pass. So we're going to take 3. And now we are in very dire straits. Yeah, so these this is really what I mean when I say it's an ambitious deck. Like, you need to draw so many cards, and sometimes, oh yeah, we're taking 2 more damage because of the Weasley twins are actually triggering now. Yeah, sometimes you just don't draw enough. Yeah, so now we're taking 9. And I think it's actually unsalvageable right now. 9 damage. So I can skip 1, then I'll take 5. Then I can skip 1, play Dobby's Disappearance on this. I mean, okay, let's not give up quite yet, but it's looking super duper bad. So we draw for the turn. Skipping 1 action. And back to him. Yeah, so now we've skipped 3 of them. He's tapping it. Yeah, we're gonna take 5. So, yeah. Not good. Not good at all. Another filed here is game. It's kind of unlikely that happens. Oh, but he plays... Yeah, this is this is actually another problem. Both Peeves and Griphook are a problem. Yeah, let's just concede this. I'll concede. There's no way to get back from this. Okay, with that, I'm going to take a short break. We'll be right back with these silly decks. Not sure quite what matchups we're going to be doing, but feel free to request one. I'll be back very soon. Welcome back, everybody. We're gonna be doing more silly games, but this game we're gonna try the Fluffy Rush deck versus the Tempo Hooch deck that has been shown on the channel before, which is more of a normal deck. Because I wanted to show a little bit of the more close to standard decks. Of course, on the channel so far, we've kind of seen that character decks are the most, I guess, seem like the most powerful decks overall. But the Hooch deck is an okay deck, and it can kind of demonstrate why decks like these don't work, but we kind of still have a chance. And we can also test this against the other Rush decks. This one is more lenient than the McGonagall deck against the Rush decks, because the Rush decks would... the Rush decks play adventures, and McGonagall can get rid of one adventure for free per game. So she would probably just walk all over those decks. But we're going to be a little bit nice to the deck. So we're going to probably only play Hooch against it, or we'll see. Maybe also the Fred and George deck. Not sure yet. So, oh, he doesn't want to search for the broom. Usually he should search for the broom, but sometimes you just draw the broom. Now, I will point out right away that our starting hand is terrible. 2 Hedwig is really unlucky because we only play 2, and you can only play 1. And same with Fluffy. Of course, we play 4 Fluffies, so it's not that unlikely that we'll see 2 of them. But in our opener, this is not what we want to see at all. So let's hope we draw better. Fortunately, I guess we are Harry, so we can draw a lot of cards. But this is not helping. Okay, so we draw for the turn. So he decided to search out the broom. So I guess we can start with playing some lessons. Now a problem here is he can destroy our lessons. But we can start by playing some lessons, and we pass to him. The only advantage here is that if he trades a card in his hand for one of our lessons, it's a 1-to-1 trade in terms of actions and cards, but we have an easier time getting new cards because we are playing Harry. That is like the one advantage we have. But the problem is, if we lose a little bit of time, he gains from that because he can deal damage to us in the meantime. And he only needs to get to 4 power to start playing his cards, while we need to get to 10 power. So the more he can delay the game, the less likely it is that we survive until we are able to do what we want to do. So he pushed one of our lessons back with the Dobby's Disappearance. We get one of our own. It's time to use Harry to draw 2. And we can play Care of Magical Creatures here. And push back to him. Yeah, so we are just drawing for cards while he's able to start playing things. But yeah, for this reason, Harry is a little bit resilient to removal cards, just because you have a slight edge in terms of card advantage. But yeah, the high power curve is bad for us. So he plays, and also the tempo in general. So he plays 2 porcupines, get a card from each. So we draw for the turn. And we can play some lessons, I think. Or actually, probably better to just draw for now. And then play one of the... Play potions lesson, I think. Because these are more vulnerable. Actually, that probably doesn't make sense, because... Yeah, he's more likely to target the one that we have fewer of in play. But it is what it is. Now we drew the 3rd Fluffy. This is yeah. sometimes your hand just clogs like this when you're playing a crazy deck like this, and you just can't do anything. Yeah, so he plays picking on Errol on this one. We have to get rid of it. And I believe he has one more action. And a black bat, so we take 2 damage from that. Oh, actually, we didn't take damage from the porcupines. We should do that. So we draw for the turn. Yeah, there's just no way. No way. Okay, let's play the 2 lessons. And back to him. And we take 6 damage. Yeah, we're running out of time quickly. Let's imagine a world where 2 of these fluffies were lessons and 1 Hedwig was a lesson. Maybe 1 Aparisium was also a lesson. Of course, we won't draw perfectly. That's just the nature of card games, of course. So I don't expect that. But even then, we would still be having a hard time right now, I think. We would be close to doing what we want to do, but not quite there. So in a world with perfect draw, we might be in a decent spot or a doable spot. Now we did not have perfect draw, so we are in a lousy spot because that means we basically would have to at least draw for cards 2 more times, and those are turns that we don't have. So we can draw 2 with Harry. And I believe to minimize damage, we should dub his disappearance this Cunning Fox. And we play a Care of Magical Creatures here. Back to him. We are at the point where we could Aparisium to start playing Deboning, but really that doesn't help. It will only delay the inevitable. So unless you can get Fluffy on the board here, you don't go for it. That's what I'm thinking. But now we only have about 4 turns left, given the creatures he has on the board. But of course, he can just play the Cunning Fox again. And then we have 3 turns. Plus, he has... There are cards that can deal direct damage to us as well. So we may only have 2 turns. And now, again, this problem. He's using the Lost Notes to get rid of a lesson, setting us back in time. And actually also getting rid of a lesson that we desperately need, the Transfiguration one. Yep, so this is not working. So we're going to draw with Harry. We have no choice. We didn't get a Transfiguration, though. Actually, let me see if we even have some of them left. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that it? 5 left in the deck. Yeah, so that means we're basically done, I think. I'll draw again just in case. But yeah, we're out of action, so we're gonna take 6 damage. We did draw 1, but it's too late. Yeah, the Cunning Fox, the Fouled. Yeah, that's pretty sure that's GG. So we draw for the turn. Yeah, so I mean, we can play this. We can play the Daubus Disappearance to put the Fox back in his hand. And then we have 1 action. So we can play the... Wait, Aparisium actually only gets us to 9. So we'll just concede. Yeah. We'll concede here. That we've had enough. But it would be interesting to see this, but instead we're playing the Rush matchup. That could be interesting. Yeah, so let's try try the Flitwick one that we did not see from this perspective. There we go. So we can roll again. And we have some adventures that are a problem for him. And we did roll well, so we get to start. And this is... we can mulligan anyway. It's an okay starting hand only because we have Escaping the Dursleys, I suppose. We would really want a lesson. But yeah, let's start with Escaping the Dursleys, and we pass. So he can solve this, get a card, and then get the broom afterwards. And he can also play like 2 lessons and then solve it. Or even wait until next turn before solving it. But this is a big reason why McGonagall is so good. You could, in this case, just get rid of the Escaping the Dursleys, and you don't have to do it right away. You can play your lessons and then get rid of it before playing your cards, so you know there is no adventure stopping you from playing what you want to be playing. Okay, so he plays a lesson and then solves this. So he could search another lesson, which seems likely. And he has 1 more action. Yeah, so he searches out a care of magical creatures, and that means he now has access to all of the... yeah, now he has access to all of the types of power that he needs. And he's also getting the broom. That also makes sense, because otherwise he risks drawing it and not being able to use Hooch. He should mark it, but it doesn't really matter because there's only 1 broom in the deck, so he couldn't make use of it again anyway. So we draw for our turn. Kind of unlucky, we don't have a lesson. But we can play the Licorice Wand to do 2 damage and get a card, instead of just drawing for a card. So this is slightly better. So we play this, and we get a card. So you should take 2 damage. Yep. And we move this, and now we have a lesson to play. So next turn, depending on what we draw, it could be Curious Raven and then Forest Troll. Maybe if we get another lesson, we go to 3 so we can play the Sandstone Gargoyle first. And this showcases like the fact that it is possible to win games with this these decks. Of course, probably not against the best decks. The character decks have easy ways to deal with this. Get a Licorice Wand. Okay, so then I think it makes sense to just go for the Curious Raven and then the Forest Troll. Of course, he can have removal cards to get rid of our creatures, which is where he starts getting back into the game, like picking on Neville on the Forest Troll. And he's also at the point now where he can start playing his own stuff, like Black Bats and stuff. Garden Gnome we're not as worried about, because it's not really about card advantage, it's about the board. So we're sort of fine with Garden Gnome. So we draw for the turn. And we can start with the Licorice Wand and get a card. So you should take 2. Yep. And now we can play this. We pass to him and we have to discard because of Garden Gnome. So we'll discard a Giant Tarantula, maybe? Or the Gargoyle, because we probably won't reach that much power. Yeah, we should also remember that. Well, probably we might not be able to do this, but we can use Flitwick to trade 2 cards in our hand for a card in our discard pile that needs Charm's power. So if we just need a way to get back a spell, we can do it that way. So we take 2 damage from this bat, and he passes to us. So he should take damage now. And yeah, we can just play a lesson in the Tarantula. So we lose this lesson, we pass to him, and then we have to pitch a card. So we're going to take 2 damage. It's kind of even. If we draw through the arch, that's what would really help us, because then he can't get rid of our creatures and stuff. This deck especially struggles against Dobby's Disappearance and Picking on Neville. There we go. There's Picking on Neville. So targeting the Forest Troll, and we have to let go of it. Also, Peeves and stuff might be really good in this situation. So we're running out of cards. Even better, I guess, if we get it after we finish drawing. So, okay. So this is good. We can play the Raven and the Tarantula, and we can discard that wand. So we have to discard this, and we take 2 damage from the bat. But we have a lead in terms of creatures. So he needs to catch up. So he deals 2 damage. He plays another bat, dealing 2 damage to us. And a fox. Okay. So now he's actually dealing more than us per turn. But we have a lead. So it's kind of okay. Yeah, now... Like, I could draw for a card here, but I don't think I should. I think... I'm not sure. Because I just have to discard it to guard a gnome. And I kind of want to play a lesson anyway. So I'll just play the lesson and pass. Because if I draw another card, we just have to pitch it. So we pass. And we take 7 damage. So the guard a gnome is starting to pay off. But he has a lot of catching up to do still. Next turn, thing is we could get a magical mishap here. If we draw something we don't want to play, we can draw another card, use Flitwick to get the mishap back and play it. Not like fantastic, but it's an extra 3 damage. So he uses the shooting star, and this is a nice use. So he puts the Tarantula back in our hand with the Dobby's Disappearance. And another Dobby's Disappearance. Yeah. So this is the way you get back in it. And Picking on Neville. Right. So he's really going for it. Yeah. That's quite nice for him that he drew so many of the Dobby's Disappearances. All of them are gone now, actually. So we draw for the turn. Overdue homework is kind of useless at this point. Yeah, so I could use Flitwick to get the mishap back and then play it, which I think I will do because I can't use the other cards, and then afterwards I can play the Tarantula. So I'll use Flitwick. Discard this, because there's no way he has a bunch of lessons in his hand because there's only 1 card in his hand. Get the magical mishap back, and then we can play this, do 3 damage, and then play the Tarantula. And good top deck now would be Peeves, and then we play the Tarantula. We don't have much left, but we're going for it. We're going to take 7 damage here. But I think he's winning the race at this point. Although, if he is drawing with Shooting Star, he's technically taking damage. If he just leaves things as they are, that could actually be the best play, to just not do anything. But, yeah, it kind of depends on what he has left. So there's one picking on Never left that he could get, which would help against the Tarantula. But if he does not draw that one, then it's not really worth it, I think. Maybe. I mean, there's creatures too, I guess, that he could play. He's a decent amount of creatures left. Was that just one action? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he agrees that he should not be... He should not really be drawing more cards. I notice Peeves is not gone from our deck, so we could still draw Peeves. We draw a Curious Raven that we cannot play. And he should take damage from our creatures. So if nothing happens from here on out, we're going to pass to him, take 7. And he passes to us. Like, yeah, we would die before he does. So I'll draw an extra card. Yeah, do we dig for Peeves or something different maybe? Most of the spells are gone. So magical mishaps are great in this case because they're essentially making the game one turn shorter and could just flat out make us win. And also Peeves makes us win. That's not a lot of cards in the deck that make us win. But we can still draw for one here. Okay, so we'll play the lesson, and then I guess we can play the Raven next turn, and that will actually, if it stays alive, he's going to be at 5, and then we play the Curious Raven, so he'll draw the card for the turn, then take 4 and die. So that actually makes a difference. So I'll discard this lesson and take 7. We lose the Grip Hook. Top decking the Peeves is also game, and it's still in the deck. Oh, he plays a Black Bat. Yep, that's bad for us. We take 2 damage. So it's our turn. We draw for the turn. Okay, yeah, we draw Escaping the Dursleys. Actually, we're about to take 9, and we can't stop it. So I think we just lose here, unfortunately. I can draw before that, but there should be nothing that stops it. Yeah, so I'll just concede. Peeves would have saved us, but that would have been lucky, though, to draw him. Yeah. Next matchup, I think, yeah, I want to try the Weasley deck. Although the Weasley twins should have real trouble against this. So maybe we'll try the Weasley twins against Fred and George, which are also the Weasley twins. So let's go with that. Where is that? So we rolled equals. I guess we roll again. And this is the old try of the Fred and George deck. I think the new deck might be better, but we haven't really played it that much. The new one tries to play Transfiguration and Dobby's Disappearance. Okay, so it looks like he gets to start, and I'll draw my 7. So we do have an adventure to start with, which is what we want. And this could be a good matchup. Of course, I chose it, so I knew that it could be. Because it's fun to see these decks get stomped. Then you understand why it's not the most stable deck concept. But it's also nice to see where they shine, you know. So, okay, let's draw for the turn. He played Escaping the Dursleys. So we can play these Quidditch lessons to not have to discard them. And I think that's a good idea. So let's start with that. And then we'll pass. Now we want to get another adventure. He draws an extra, plays another lesson. Okay. So we get a card for the turn. Okay, so we have 2 more lessons. So I figure let's play those. And we're not solving Escaping the Dursleys this turn, because we have no more actions to play cards. And if we solve it now, we give him a window to play Letters from No One, which would stop us from playing our adventure. So we'll just leave this as is. If he gets to 4 power, he can start putting our adventure back with Hover Charms, but only if that adventure is not Through the Arch. However, I still think we should... I'm not sure. It might be that we should go for Through the Arch. So it's back to us. Yeah, let's see. So we get a card for the turn. Yeah, maybe let's go for Through the Arch. This safe... I'm actually not sure. Through the Arch can return the adventure. Oh, sorry. Hover Charm can return the adventure. Then we have to play it again. So we're losing an action. He's losing a card. I mean, it's not the worst thing. So maybe we go for Flying to Hogwarts, because he can't permanently get rid of it. Yeah, I'm gonna try that, because he doesn't have a whole lot of spells in his deck. Although actually Hover Charm in combination with like Letters from No One is bad. Yeah, you know what? I want to stop that. I don't want that to happen. And it's not that unlikely. It depends on kind of what you want to play around, and I'm not sure I'm playing around the right stuff now. But I'm going to play Through the Arch, so he can't play those spells. And then pass back to him. And just go from there. Because I don't think he can afford to start skipping actions to get through this. And he can't play Hover Charm on it. This also stops him from playing End of Year Feast to recycle his adventures, which is not something he was about to do, but could be something he wants to do later on. Okay, so yeah, he does play Letters from No One and a Gargoyle. All right, so we draw for the turn. And I was just about to say... Oh, actually, the Letters from No One stops us from playing cards, of course. So that's a problem. What I would like to do here is play a creature, of course, so the Sandstone Gargoyle doesn't deal that much. We deal damage with the Weasley twins. But we can't, because of Letters from No One, we can't play a creature. So we have to draw extra cards. So we'll draw 1 and 2, and then pass back to him. But once we're able to solve this, we can put a black bat on the board or whatever. And we're dealing damage every turn with this through the arch. Oh yeah, forgot to take damage. There we go, 3. Oh, he's actually trying to solve this. That's interesting. It seems wrong, but maybe it's going to pay off. So we draw for the turn. We do have an adventure to replace it now. But not if we want to solve this Letters from No One. That's the problem. Which I kind of want to do. So we have to draw an extra card, our first action. Now we could solve Letters from No One. I don't really want to. Wait, he still didn't take damage, did he? No, he didn't take damage from the Weasley twins. Yeah, if we solve it now by discarding these, it could be great if we draw the right cards. But if we don't, it's really bad. So I think we draw again here. And pass. Because now next turn we can keep the Black Bat and the Flying to Hogwarts, potentially. Or keep a Black Bat and another creature. So we take 3 more damage. And if he skips 2 here, that's fine. He skips 1, okay. So he passes. And we draw for the turn. And he takes damage from the Weasley twins. Yeah, so let's solve this one. I think there's a... Oh, already 3 adventures gone. Okay, so let's think about it. There's 5 adventures left in the deck. Means we probably want to keep this one, Flying to Hogwarts. But we're solving Letters from No One to start with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the Raven. And then we get 2 cards. Not perfect. So we can play check, then he can discard a lesson card to deal 4 damage back to us. I guess fair enough. Could stop him from getting to 4 power if he's starved on lessons. So he has to make a decision. He might not have a lesson too. This is like a pretty bad card. Very ambitious. Gonna check if he's... Okay, he doesn't discard. And then we play our Black Bat. Like we wanted to. So he's going to take 2 more. And we pass. So now these gargoyles only deal 1 damage each. So that's good. And we're sort of even on cards. Yeah, after solving this though and playing a creature, he's ahead on damage per turn. We can play the Flying to Hogwarts, but then if he has Hover Charm, he can slow down our damage output. He plays a Through the Arch on of his own. Wait, what was the... Did he draw... Yeah, okay, he drew an extra card, and then he played Through the Arch. So I can't play spells. Okay, so I'll draw for the turn. And that should be... Yeah, he took 4 damage just like he should. We can play the Slinking Ferret and get a card. And we can maybe draw an extra card here. Maybe I should start solving this, but I'm not sure. Because we might just spend our actions on playing adventures and creatures. Okay, now he solves the Through the Arch. Yeah, so now we want to be spending 2 actions on this, and he might be playing Hover Charm over and over again. Oh, he drew an extra card. It seems like he's just really unlucky and is not drawing the lessons he wants. Okay, so we just play our adventure and pass to him. So I feel like normally he should be favored, but he probably had really bad draw this game. And yeah, now we have clear damage lead where he really needs to play Hover Charm on this, or that represents 4 damage a turn. And looks like he's thinking. I don't know if he disappeared. Okay, he's probably thinking. Just gonna check. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he has a mandatory draw as well that he wasn't spending. I didn't see a mandatory draw in the log. Okay, there we go. Now he's drawing. Okay, so it's me now. Yeah, at this point, I think we just play the Raven and skip an action on Through the Arc. So 1 action on this. And we pass. So we're going to take 2 damage from his gargoyles. Wait, did he take that? He didn't take damage from our stuff. That's 7. 2 from the Weasley twins, 2 from this, 2 from the Black Bat, and 2 from the... Yeah. Okay, so we yeah, the game is basically over now. We're just playing it out. I don't think he has a good way to come back from here. So now it's back to him. Looks. Did he miss his mandatory again? So he puts the flying to Hogwarts back in our hand again. I don't think he drew. Did he? No. Yeah, there was no draw. Huh. Okay. It doesn't say he drew. Oh, he took it from discard. Okay, that makes sense. So he has one action left. That makes sense. That explains why the lesson was on the board. Yeah, this game is super duper over. So he gets rid of the letters from no one to play this, the through the arch to play the letters from no one. Back to us, we're gonna deal 4. So yeah, we should be able to. I mean, we could just solve this and play the flying to Hogwarts. But I sort of think that he's just gonna put it back with Hover Charm again. Now that he's at 4. Actually, let's check his discard pile. There's 2 Hover Charms in there. 2 left in the deck. Sorry, in hand or deck. Pretty likely he has more of them. So it might be best to actually just draw here and prepare to discard for letters from no one. And then we can kill him with checked plus. Actually, I could just play checked. Yeah, I'm not thinking super clearly. I could just play checked. No, actually, he could still return one of our creatures to our hand. So keeping checked and bias commentary is guaranteed kill unless he replaces this with a through the arch. So we draw another card. And then we pass to him and we're going to take 2 damage. And if he plays Escaping the Dursleys, then he also needs to get rid of one of our creatures here to stay alive. Because otherwise we can solve the Escaping the Dursleys and search out a foul from our deck and just play that immediately. So now it's back to him. Plays 2 black bats, so that's 4 damage to us. But that's not enough damage. So it's back to us. And he's going to take 4 from these creatures, and we're going to finish him. And checked finishes the game. We can take, he can deal 4 to us. No, actually, he can't. He dies before he can deal the 4. So that's good game. Yeah, so these decks can win games. I think we're gonna do a last one if he has time. But I think a short break first. All right, I'll be right back, folks. All right, we are back for probably the last, with probably the last game of the stream. I want to give Fluffy a chance to win a game, so we're gonna do the thing again, where we we create a matchup scenario where we have a decent chance of winning. So I'm gonna play against the other extremely ambitious combo deck to hope that we can win against this. And I think we have a good shot. So let's see who gets to their combo first. It's basically just going to be a race. But I think that can be fun to see. And I just want to... I want Fluffy to get the opportunity to kill someone in this stream. Just to prove to Hagrid that Fluffy is not a cute creature. So we lost the die roll, so we don't get to start. All right, so we draw for the turn, and we can start with just playing lessons. These decks can't interact with each other much. In this deck we have Dabba's Disappearance, and we have Deboning and Forgetfulness Potion to stop him from playing cards. But I will really only start playing these after I play Aparecium. So it becomes relevant once I get to the point where I can start going for the combo. I might also play Aparecium prematurely if I think I'm about to lose, if I don't play it. But otherwise, you save it. All right, so he triggered Harry again by playing a Quidditch lesson. And now he's drawing an extra card. Okay, so looks like he doesn't have the perfect draw. Not enough lessons. We draw for the turn. We find the Apparition, which is great. Now we only need more lessons and Fluffy. So we can draw 2 cards with Harry's power. And I guess 2 more. Yeah, there's no reason to not draw 2 more yet. So we didn't draw Potions lessons, but we only have 1 card that requires Potions in our hand, so maybe that's not a huge deal. But if we don't get Fluffy, we can't win. So this is still a big problem. We're gonna have to keep digging for cards until we find Fluffy. Also, we need to have 10 lessons in total. Right now we have 7. So we need at least 4 more cards, being Fluffy and more lessons. So we need to draw with Harry at least 1 more time this game. And that's if we're lucky. So there's still time on his side to finish us. He starts by playing a Quidditch and getting the draw from Harry. And then another lesson. So now he's at 5. He can start playing penalty shots for extra cards. So we draw for the turn. Yeah, so we'll start by drawing 2 extra. And still no Fluffy. Crazy. But at this point, we have a decent amount of lessons. So I think we play another lesson. And if we're super lucky, we just top deck the last 2 cards we need. And then we can play Apparition. If we don't, of course, we have to use Harry's power to draw more cards. And we're still seeing who gets there first. So now he's at the point where he can play penalty shot. And his deck can go off really fast if he gets the right cards. He could already be at the point where he can play Apparition or play Apparition next turn and put enough lessons on the board to play those flying laps. And that was only his first action, so he can still do something. Okay, so he's going for it now. Revealing 4 lessons? That seems wrong, because he only gets to 9 power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9. Oh, it's because he wants to play Loop the Loops. So he had Flying Laps, Platform. We want him to reveal again. I sort of missed what he has. He needs to wait for my thumbs up, before concealing. So there was, so he's doing this because he wants to play Loop the Loops. And there's quick thinking that he can use to draw 2 Apparition that are not that useful anymore. Could be useful later for the combo, and a Platform. Okay, all good. All good. So we'll draw for the turn. And that's not a Fluffy. We are sad about it. But yeah, so we could play Apparition here and start playing Debonings. But then every turn is playing Deboning and hoping we get Fluffy. No, actually, we can't play Apparition this turn. What am I talking about? We need 2 more power. So let's play the lessons and then I guess just hope that we get Fluffy soon. Yeah, this is also an issue with relying super heavily on one particular card, is that you just, if you don't get it, nothing is happening. So he's going to deal 4 to us and draw 4 with this Loop the Loops. Fortunately, none of the top cards were Fluffies. Would be very funny now if we draw a Fluffy. So we get a card for the turn. That is not fluffy. So I feel sort of forced to play the Apparicium to start playing deboning. Because if he plays Flying Lapse now, then surely he's going to combo. So yeah, I feel forced to do this. Apparicium. We put a lot of lessons into play. And then we play the deboning to buy ourselves a turn. So he can draw for cards, but nothing else. So we get some time here to find the fluffy before we die. Just deboning. I guess he missed me playing the deboning. There's some lag sometimes on untap. Okay, so he put the card back in hand. And there's still 4 fluffies left in the deck. So he draws cards instead. So we draw for the turn. And we draw fluffy. This should mean we win the game. Yeah, definitely we win the game. So beautiful. We finally found fluffy just in time. So we play the boning. We shake it just to make sure he sees. And now we have 10 power, so we can play the fluffy. And we discard 2 cards. And it's back to him. And we can pretend that we had it all along and that we didn't get super lucky. So now, next turn, we don't even have to play the Forgetfulness Potion. He's going to take 12 from Fluffy. And then we can play 2 Steel Claws for 24 damage. And that's going to be a beautiful, beautiful way to win the game. To finally showcase the power of this deck. All right. All right. Yeah, that was it for the day. This was yeah, it was a long time since I did a house format stream. I wanted to showcase a few more of the decks that I built at home during this time, and some of those decks are just gonna end up being fun, silly decks like these. And I wanted to show that side of the deck building as well, because I mean, it's kind of what card games are about, is having fun. I mean, having fun can also be fun to try to build the very best decks, but just like trying out a lot of ideas is super fun, and even ideas like these that don't necessarily work are cool to show, and allows you to think about the game, like why do certain things work, why don't they work, under what circumstances does one deck work and not work. So we saw some silly decks today. This might be the last house format stream. It could be that I show some more of the decks that I built within the house format. But what I've planned for Harry Potter TCG coming up is some revival practice streams where we test out revival decks, and possibly some classic streams as well. So if you enjoy the Harry Potter content, stay tuned for that. If you want to get notifications for that, of course, subscribe and click the bell, you know, all that good stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.